Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Now, this is The Next Chapter, a podcast where we dive deep into stories of transformation, resilience, and what it really takes to own your own next chapter. Today's guest is someone that truly lives and breathes that message of knowing, owning, and being yourself. Chelle Stanley is a customer success manager at the Coaching Masters, somewhere where we both got our coaching accreditation. And she is a champion of women ready to stop shrinking and start living as themselves. Chelle, I've known you for a couple of years now through our coaching background, and I've always loved your energy and your no BS approach to life. And I know you like to talk a lot about authenticity and being yourself. Now, it's become a bit of a buzzword online, that is for sure. In your own opinion, what is authenticity?
Yeah, so for me, it's not about being loud or confident or unfiltered. It's about alignment for me. So it's how your life, your behaviors, your choices on the outside match the inside. And I've really learned that actually from living in survival, when my nervous system feels like, okay, this is all right, that's authentic. Like there's no performing, there's no masking, there's no changing. What's inside me matches what's outside me.
Okay, so you feel more aligned, well, you feel in alignment with your values, what's important to you.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go right back.
Yep.
Where did your story with identity and confidence really begin?
You could probably say before I was born. Um, so my biological dad actually left my mom when she said she was pregnant. So straight away I was rejected before I was even breathing, talking, anything. Yeah, so went through a lot as a child. I'd say I'd say only recently I've stepped into my full authentic self. But now obviously having the coaching tools and looking back, I can see what shaped me becoming a version of me that wasn't me. And that includes rejection by my biological father. I was abused as a child. I was bullied in school. I had a single mom who also struggled with agoraphobia and things. I learned from a very early age to be independent, to be the strong one, emotionally independent. Just it's that whole confidence thing as well. I think you've got to be yourself before you can even be confident. Like everyone says, you've got to be confident to be yourself. Like to me, being yourself makes the confidence because you get that positive feedback. You get that, okay, this feels safe inside me. This feels okay. I can do this. Yeah. So I'd say really like now coach head on, I can look back and see actually like my identity and my confidence was was a journey all the way through childhood. But I also see that I was seen as the confident child because I went to drama school. I did shows in school. I went to martial arts. I always wanted to be the performer, but actually I felt most unsafe then. So for me, that was one, I was able to step into identity that wasn't me. So that was okay because nobody was judging me. They were judging Chelle on stage or Chelle the dancer. You're always in a different identity when you're performing. But also, it was that level of I can just pretend, I can just forget. It was that safe moment of I'm not me for now. I think, yeah, the word safety is coming up a lot. And I think that's what shaped a lot of me.
So you were wearing many different masks and you were sort of escaping yourself, would you say? Wearing them?
Absolutely, absolutely. I learned how to be a living coping mechanism stage constantly. Like I say, abandonment, abuse, and then it goes on to like later life into my teenage years and things. I ended up in a domestic violent relationship. I ended up just allowing boys to treat me mentally not right and things, and it was all chasing that. I just want to be loved. I just want somebody to like me. So it went from being the performer shell. Oh, I'm going to perform to make people like me. And then when you get older, that old performance, that, ooh, everyone's like, oh, that's too much, calm that down. So then it relayed into that, I'm going to mask, I'm going to hide, I'm going to people please, I'm going to live by society's expectations and judgments, I'm going to put myself in a checkbox. And then you see that actually that still doesn't work. I feel like I've gone through so many changes. I don't feel like there's one key moment where I can say that was the moment. Like I've got now like a closer memory that I think was the pivotal point now, but like growing up, I don't think there was any point that I feel like I just feel like I don't want to be in victim mode. I'm not in victim mode. But when I look back, I see actually that poor little child had so much and it was almost like everything was just balancing on my shoulders. But again, I'd learned to be the strong one. I'd learned to deal with that. And by learning to deal with that and not externally show that, you slip into an identity that's, well, you're the strong one. So you've just got to do that. You just got to get on with it. Being abused at the age of 12 is not something that somebody naturally should just get on with. But yeah, I learned to mask, I learned to hide, I learned to disassociate. And actually, at the age of 30, I was diagnosed with PTSD because of that abuse at 12, because I'd masked it and hid it and bravoed it for so long. It took that long for me to realise, actually, this is trauma. Like I told people the story and it was, oh, you're a liar. So then it was, okay, can't tell that story anymore. Let's show up okay. Like, I can't be the traumatized kid. Nobody believes it. Let's be okay, Chelle. Like, that didn't happen to me. Let's go. So you disassociate from everything because you're in a constant fear state, a constant survival state of trying to make people accept you. And you'll do that in any way possible when you fear rejection, when you just want somebody to like you slip into all those little bits and you don't realize it until you're so far in, like myself, you're in a 4-year bout of agoraphobia because you've traumatized everything and you've got to a state in your life and you're just like, what the fuck? And you can be your most happiest. I was happily married. I had children. I lived by the sea and I was in a state of, what the fuck? Like, people used to say to me, oh, why are you so depressed? Why have you got PTSD? Like, your life looks so good. My life was good. And I think that is the worst part. Like, that's the hardest part to admit I'm struggling when life around you is perfect. Because everyone's like, but why are you struggling then? What's actually happening? So that again stripped back my identity. It was like, oh, fuck, I'm just a mom now. And there's nothing wrong with being just a mom. I absolutely love my children and I'm blessed to be a mom. I know there are people out there that can't be, but when you keep changing your identity for other people, you get to a stage eventually, well, I did anyway, where you're just like, fuck, who am I? Like, I've tried to fit in all these little boxes. I've tried to put on all these hats. This one didn't work. That one didn't work. I turned into the drunk, friendly, happy friend that sat in the bath and drank 3 bottles of wine. And then I was like, actually, no, alcohol's not for me. Let's take that away. But then I was the uncool friend because now I'm sober and nobody wants to be friends with sober Chelle. And there's just so much put on you from society, people around you, the news, the TV, the environment, even TV shows you watch. I think everything programs you to show up in a certain way, to speak a certain way. And I think if you can't truly stand confident in your authenticity, you're going to get swept away with that. You're absolutely just going to be led into a life of not being who you want to be because you're so fearful. And it's honestly the last 6 to 12 months, I'd say, for me have been the most freeing because I've just thought, fuck it. This is who I am. Let's just fucking go and be it. Like, I've always had that high energy, but also like I'm an extroverted introvert. When I'm around the right people, like yourself, people in the community, things like that, I'm like, yes, like I can get it out there. But for a long time, social media, let's say it was social media side of Chelle, she wouldn't show that version of me because there was still that, no, got to people please, no, can't be judged, or, no, like that's not allowed. And now I'm at the stage and I'm just like, do you know what? Actually, this is who the fuck I am. Like, if people don't like that, I'm not going to trade my authenticity for their acceptance. The trash can take itself out.
Yeah, people pleasing is such a big thing in
Yeah.
today's society, especially with social media. It's obviously been blown right up by that. You've mentioned masking a lot there, Chelle. You've said about having to perform and be somebody else.
Yeah.
How else were you masking? You mentioned alcohol. Was there anything else as well involved?
I'd say alcohol was the biggest one. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't ever feel like I was an alcoholic. I hadn't become dependent upon it, but it was definitely a coping mechanism. And like I say, when you can get in the bath and drink 3 bottles of wine because you've had such a shit day and you feel so rejected. And I think that particular day I'd had some online hate, and I was just, I'm not doing this anymore. I went for a bath, took a bottle of wine. I finished that, said to the hubby, can you go to the shop and get another one? So he brought 2. I don't see him as an enabler or anything like that because, like I say, I don't ever look and think, fucking hell, I had an issue with alcohol, but I had an issue with alcohol. You know what I mean? I think, again, that's another thing with society. Like, you're taught that alcohol isn't an issue until you're dependent on it. When
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
that's not a healthy thing to go and to
No.
literally drown your sorrows in the bath, like,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
But it's so easy to do
yeah.
in today's society.
And also I used alcohol as a sense of, like, this big, loud, vibrant version of Chelle.
It brought out a
If I
different
wanted to
version.
bring her out, I was like, "Right, if I drink and people are like, 'Fucking hell, you were wild last night,' I can be like, 'Yeah, it was the drink, it was alright, I was drunk.'" When actually the alcohol was just a permission slip for me to be fully authentic, but I had
Mm.
something else to fall back on if I was judged, if I was rejected, or I always had something there to blame, so nobody could
Mm.
blame me. "Oh, yeah, but it was this. Yeah, but it was that."
Yeah, yeah,
Sure.
totally. So many people that I speak to, they use alcohol as a coping mechanism, and it's so widely available and with advertising, and it's a social lubricant as well, isn't it? So
I think
yeah,
it's also how,
it's
like, well, it's
a
praised.
slippery slope.
It's just normal, isn't it? Like, they advertise TV alcohol between TV programs, like in the adverts, and it's so widely just have a drink. And if you tell people now you're sober, they look at you like you've got 3 heads.
Yeah, yeah, they do. I remember talking to you actually when I first met you.
Yeah.
Have you been sober a while now, Shell? I can't remember how long you
Um,
were.
37 this year, so my 34th birthday was the last time I drank properly, so I will be completely honest.
Yeah,
Christmas is gone. I did have 1 bottle of Baileys throughout the whole of December, just a couple of little
yeah,
bits. So
yeah,
I'm not completely sober, but
yeah. But you
yeah,
don't use
like,
it like
just
you were.
a little bit of Baileys at Christmas, that's it now. I don't drink throughout, like, I've been to weddings and stayed sober, I've been to birthday
Mm.
parties and stayed sober. I've actually had friends that have been like, they've not openly said, "We don't wanna speak to you no more, you're sober," but they've vanished off the face of the earth, "Don't talk to me anymore." But that's okay because I'm quite confident in who I am and I don't need the drink anymore.
Mm.
So if that means you don't wanna be friends with me because alcohol isn't a tie between us anymore, then
Mm.
I obviously thought more of the friendship than you did because I thought we had more of a connection than drink, but it goes
Yeah,
to show, doesn't it? Yeah. It is sad, but
yeah. I think you find out who your real friends are when,
absolutely.
like you say, you take that mask off, your true, authentic self, and
Yeah.
it's like
And
take it or
embrace
leave it.
it.
And
I'm
that's it.
better without the drink. Like, people used to think, people always say to me, "Oh, we love drunk Chelle." And I'm like, "Oh, get out here now with authentic Chelle. Chelle that loves herself without the drink. Like, you'll have an even better night."
God. So, did you ever feel like you had to shrink yourself to fit in,
Constantly, all the time.
or
All
yeah,
the time. So even now, like, when people say to me, "What's your vision for coaching?" I'm like, "I'm gonna have a star in Hollywood." I think Hollywood's for actors, isn't it? I don't think coaches can get a star, but I'm having a star. I'm gonna be on stages. My name is gonna be on lights. Like, but even, like, sometimes talking to people about that, I'm like, "Oh god, am I being a bit, oh, my dream's a bit too big?" And I'm like, "No, fuck, like, these are my dreams. I'm gonna tell people these are my dreams." Like, so there are moments where I'm like, "Oh, I shouldn't be like that." But actually it's listening to that voice internally and thinking, "Right, I appreciate that you feel the need to shrink in, but we're not shrinking. You're getting out there, like, you're gonna step in the uncomfortable." So you absolutely still feel these things. I don't think you ever overcome fear of judgment and all that stuff. It's learning to actually say, "No, I acknowledge you're there. Leave me alone. I'm not listening. I'm doing it anyway."
yeah. No, it is absolutely, it is so true. Just this is it. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not abiding by those rules anymore. And yeah, you in the coaching masters, I remember Lewis and Liam saying, give out your vibe and you attract your
Yeah.
tribe, or whatever that catchphrase is. But it really, really resonated with me.
Thing with, like, standing solid in your identity as well and being authentic. If you go out there as a version of yourself that isn't you, you're masking, you're pretending, you're dimming yourself, you might attract people, they might really like you. But actually, you've got to keep up that bravado then, because they
Mm.
like a version of you that isn't fucking you. If you go out there and just be authentically who you are and people like you, brilliant. You don't ever have to put a show on again. You've got friends that like the real version of you, whether that be the high energy Chelle version of you. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm ADHD, whether it be that, whoa, in your face, like, cannot sit still version, or sometimes I'm sat out in the garden on the grass, touching the earth, meditating. Like,
Yeah.
I am very woo woo. And again, that used to be something that I'd mask. Like, I thought, I can't show up as up here Chelle and then the next day be meditating and quiet in the garden because people are thinking, hold on a minute, which version's fake? But now I realise, actually, I'm just made up of lots of different parts of me that make me whole. And I'm going to celebrate all of those parts because high energy Chelle needs the low energy Chelle that knows how to recoup herself, because I can be the extrovert in the room working it, but then I need to retreat into my own energy and recoup and resettle. And And I'm no longer like seeing that as a bad thing. Like that's a superpower that I can recharge myself enough to go out there and empower people and be like, yes, let's go. My energy fires people up, but you can't live on that 100%. So
No.
I don't see that as a bad thing anymore. That's definitely a side of me that I used to hide, like my spiritual side, my meditation, my Reiki, my stones, my cards, all of that stuff. I always thought, oh God, you can't show up as that. Like people are going to think you're a weirdo, or like that you're faking one version of you or the other. Whereas actually they're not versions of me. They're just parts of me. Like they're all me. They're just me at different energy levels, and that's fine.
Yeah, I've really struggled with that myself, all the woohoo stuff.
Yeah.
So my old group of friends, they think I'm mad. They yeah, when I mention meditation, when I mention manifestation, anything like this, they're like, Luke, what have you been smoking? Seriously.
The
But
delusional quality, the best.
that is me. That is me, and I've always been like that.
Yeah.
But like you said, I never mentioned it because of the fear of rejection,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to be judged. And I feel like in society that is such a sad thing.
It is. That we'll put ourselves in a state of depression to please other people. We'll make ourselves unhappy by hiding parts of ourselves to make other people happy. Why aren't we all focusing on making the main person happy? Like,
Mm,
we're the person that
exactly.
matters the most.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think it's an age thing though, Shell? Because I've got two teenage children now, and whenever I'm out with them, I am the most embarrassing father ever. They're always saying, they're always saying to me, "Dad, shut up! What are you doing?" Blah, blah. And then I try and remember what I was like when I was that age,
Yeah.
and I say to myself, I just don't give a crap anymore, guys. So do you think it's a sort of midlife thing? Do you think it's something that that
Um,
that that you could become, like, that you sort of move into as you get older?
I think so, but yeah, I don't know if it's because you get older or like for myself, I've been through so much. Now I'm at a stage where like, do you know what? I'm not living to make other people happy anymore. I've had so much trauma dumped on me. I've gone through so much and I've come out of all of it. And I'm now not going to live for some fucker else. Like I've survived all of that. I'm going to go celebrate. Like, and when you said that about your children being embarrassed, like our house is so jokey, so wild. So like the kids will pull pranks out in the street to try and embarrass us. Like we're such a family like that. It's great, but I really try and show them, yeah, like, just be who you are. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it absolutely doesn't matter. Like, and I tell them, like, you're going to get people that aren't really nice to you. You will get people that say they don't like you. And I never say to them, words don't hurt, because obviously, as we know, NLP, things like that, words do hurt. Words can have an effect. They do live with you. So I would never tell them, oh, words aren't going to hurt you. Ignore their words. Like, I say to them, it's okay to be upset by their words, but don't ever let their words change you. Like, don't ever adapt yourself to make somebody like you, because then they're not liking you for the right reason anyway. If you're having to be a different version of yourself to be liked, that's not a real like, is it? Like you're putting on a different suit, like, so.
Hmm. You said about 18 months ago, you were like, right, that's it.
Yeah.
I've had enough of wearing these masks. Do was there a low moment? Yeah, was there I won't say rock bottom moment, but was there a catalyst that made you change?
Um, so I'd say the low moment was probably before that. So I actually joined the coaching masters in 2022, and that's because at the time I was dealing with agoraphobia. I'd been diagnosed with PTSD. I was agoraphobic. Leaving the house was the biggest chore ever. And for me, learning to be a coach was about making money from home. Now, I'll be completely honest and say, people said, oh, why don't you try? But actually, people said to me, be a therapist. And I was like, I'm too much of an empath. I can't take on that. I'll have a look at
Yeah.
coaching. So that's what it's for. But I really underestimated the tools and putting the work in on yourself. So I'd read so many self-help books, so many. Um, and some of them worked, but they were like a quick fix. Like they'd work for a week and then you'd be back there. And it was, right, well, what do I need to do? So I went through the tools and I actually, within 10 weeks, went back to work. I'd
Oh, wow.
overcome so much and I went back to work. And then it was a case of, well, I don't need to do the coaching anymore. So then I kind of didn't delve into it any deeper. I didn't do any more training and things. It was a case of it served its purpose. Now I'm just going to move on. But yeah, I think from there, like I thought I was fixed then. And then you realise you're not. Like, I dealt with one issue and that was the agoraphobia. I'd got out and I realised actually you're still not showing up as you. Like, yeah, okay, you've overcome so much that you're able to be seen, like physically be seen, but you're not allowing yourself to be seen in here. Like, you're not showing people who you are. So that was the lower point. Yeah, and like I said, I've worked through, so I went back to work, but then that job then was like, okay, this has done its job as well now. I accepted the job to get me back out of the house, back into society, dealing with the community and things like that. But I was back at a point thinking, this isn't me. Like, this isn't for me. Like, dealing with shoplifters all the time, and in retail, you're told a lot of the time, don't approach shoplifters. Like, one of my core values is integrity and honesty, and like, I just couldn't help it. Like, if a shoplifter came in, I was like, absolutely not on my watch. Like, the amount of times I nearly got assaulted because I was like, put it back. Like, you're not leaving in the shop. I stood in the doorway and got arrested out the door once. Like, and then I got pulled in the office and told off for it, which blew my mind. I was just like, this shit is not for me. Like, what am I actually supposed to be doing? And I was like, right, I am actually really good at helping people. People come to me naturally for problems. And I was like, if I actually really applied myself with the coaching and learned the tools correctly, I could help on such a massive scale. And again, that big ego comes in, but I don't care. I like to be delusional. So it was a case then of, right, what do I need to do? And yeah, I stepped back into the coaching and things, and I went to an event, and that just absolutely changed it. Absolutely changed it for me.
This is where you come out on stage. I remember seeing
Yeah.
it on the socials. Yeah. Yeah. I remember you joined, is it Kelly on
Yeah.
stage? Is that
Yeah,
right?
just neuro break.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You see the snap there where I snapped it? I couldn't find the other end though, so I've only got one end.
But yeah, I mean, the coaching masters, it's been a hell of a journey for me,
Yeah.
with Lewis and Liam. Yeah, yeah, they are great guys, and their energy and they both work really well together, don't they? They're
Yeah.
sort of yin and yang, and yeah, it's been an incredible journey for me. But why do you think? Because there's so many people listening to this will be like, "What the hell is coaching?" People that understand it, it's obviously massive in the US, but not so big here in the UK. Why is coaching so powerful?
So for me, I've had therapy. So
Mm.
as I shared, I was diagnosed with PTSD I was abused as a child. So I had to go through therapy for that. And that's very good in going back to the event and dealing with the issues that are presented from that. So for me, I was having night terrors and flashbacks and things. So it was very good at dealing with that. It stopped the night's terrors. It stopped the flashbacks. To an extent, I probably need more therapy, but to an extent, it dealt with the memory. But then it was a case of, okay, like we've done all that now, like our work with you is finished. And then it's like what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah,
Like there's no forward from it. Like, and I absolutely appreciate all the help I got with it. It did stop, like, the night terrors and the flashbacks were awful. And I'm forever grateful that they helped with those and they stopped those. But it was still then like it's almost like it's right in the pit of your stomach, the trauma, and they bring it right up here. And then they're like, right, well, now we're going to leave you to it. And then I was still like, well, how do I get this bit out? What do I do with this bit? Like, you can still feel there's still something that needs to be dislodged and erupted and gone. Like, yeah, it's very good in dealing initially with it, but I don't feel like it's forward face enough. So for me, the coaching, and you don't even have to deal with trauma. You can deal with everyday stuff. Like, there's so many tools and techniques you can use with coaching. It just blows my mind that when you actually look at it in its simplest form, they're just really clever fucking questions. But they're
yeah,
not questions that you'd ever like sit and think to, like, unless you'd been through that. Like, you don't, I suppose naturally as people, everything's so fast paced now. We take in so many thoughts. When you're having a conversation with somebody, not as a coach, and you've not had the experience, you're listening surface level. You're listening to what they're actually saying. As a coach, you're trained to think, hold on a minute, that's what's coming out their mouth, what's under it. Oh, let's have a look. What's down there? What's down there? Like, and sometimes you can just ask one question. I was on a coaching call the other day, and a lady said something. I said, "Stop a minute." She said, "What?" I said, "Where did that belief come from?" She went, "What?" I said, "Where did that come from?" She went, "What do you mean?" I went, "Where did it come from?" She went, and then like the look of horror came up on her face, and I was like, "You okay?" She was like, "You've just took me back to a childhood memory that I didn't even realise had an
yeah,
impact." Like, and it is magical. Like,
yeah,
it's magic. That's all I'm gonna say. It's being able to read below the surface. It really
yeah,
trains you to do that, yeah.
yeah. And like you said, with therapy, you it's going back, it's past tense really. Whereas coaching, you're making goals, you're creating goals, you're
Yeah.
moving. and you're moving forward.
Like with trauma, there's definitely a reason to go back. You need to go back with trauma, but not everything in life you need to go backwards for and find something. Like I said with that
Mm,
lady I wanted to find where a negative belief had come from because they really hold you back. But in general, like most people are, when they're stuck, they don't know how to move forward, and coaching helps with that. So you don't even have to go back at all. Like obviously
mm,
therapy, that's what it's for, but coaching, you don't have to go backwards. And there are some techniques, if somebody brings something to you, you don't even need to know what the issue is. You can take them through a technique without knowing any circumstances at all, and it can deal with what's going on. It's just phenomenal.
it is phenomenal. It is, yeah. And yeah, I recommend anybody who's got any goals, who's interested in transformation, personal development, to just dip their toe in it, because
Yeah.
it really can. Well, obviously, you've done an LP, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's so hard to explain to everyday people. They don't get it.
Tell people coach, they're like, what football team do you train? No, I'm not a sports coach.
Yeah. Yeah, they think you're a personal trainer. I mean, yeah, it's quite funny, but yeah, that's the best way that I can describe it to people. I say I'm like a PT, like a personal trainer, but not for the physical side, for the mental side, for the mindset. Exactly. What were the first steps for you then, Shell, when you took, when you were, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, when you really started to build your confidence and own your identity then?
So I've actually got a little mantra, and that is know yourself, own yourself, be yourself. And for me, the first part is becoming really self aware. So, what are those things in your life that bring negativity to you? That don't add like positivity to your life. They bring you down. They make somebody that you're not. Like strip out all of that stuff that's extra padding, that's not needed, that turns
All
you
the plus.
into a shitty person, not a happy
Mm,
person. Get it all gone. And then own yourself is about self acceptance. And that is like really sitting with it. So for me, like I knew the agoraphobia was bad and I had, yes, okay, I had trauma. Yes, I had PTSD. I had other stuff going on. I was still making a choice to sit in the house. I was making the choice to not work through that to get back outside. You've got to have acceptance about those things that you're allowing. Like really look and think, actually, like, what am I allowing myself to be stuck in? What am I choosing? And that word for me, like, seeing it as you're choosing it, I was like, I don't want to choose this. I want to choose something different. So then it
mm,
led me to, well, actually, like I can choose something different. So I'm going to. And then be yourself is that first statement I said about really being who you are in here and showing that externally. Like it's not about the outside stuff. It's about living in alignment with what in here says.
yeah, you said about distractions there as well, especially this day and age with phones, with
Yeah.
Netflix, whether it's alcohol, whether there's just so many distractions in there, and you can literally, so many times I've tried to speak to people, I've tried to help people, and they just don't want to know, and they're so easily distracted, and yeah, it's tough trying to get people to open up, especially for me working with men, and the ego that you've spoke about a couple of times already. It's really, really tough.
Yeah.
Definitely. So how did your environment and your relationships shift as you changed? Because I've found it really, really tough with my different relationships with
Yeah.
old friends and stuff, as I've changed. And they say that obviously your environment is so, so important. Would you say the same?
Yeah, so there's defo been a difference in relationships. Like I say, there's people that have stepped back because of my choices and things. And
Yeah.
so 10 years ago, actually, no, 11 years this month, we actually relocated 200 miles away from all our friends and our family. And at that point, I was struggling with postnatal depression, but we wanted to live by the beach. An
Mhm.
opportunity came up. We got a phone call on the Tuesday night and we moved, we moved on the Thursday morning. It just happened. Um, so I'd say really since then, like obviously all the identity work's been later, but I feel like my relationships and environment have adapted over that time because you're giving yourself that space between you. Whereas I suppose when you live really close to people, they pop in for a cuppa just because they're bored. Whereas here, like meetups had to be scheduled. Like we had to arrange for people to come and stay with us and things like that. So it already helped create that distance between friendships that probably were no longer fully aligned.
Yeah,
My
I
most
found exactly the same.
yeah, my
I
most
can resonate with that so much.
it makes such a difference, doesn't it? Like, and you see those that matter and those that care, and
Mm.
like,
Yeah.
so I have people that come here, but also when I go back up there, because obviously my family is still up there. When I go stay with them, there are still friends now that can't be bothered to come to me. They're like, "Can you not come to my house?" And I'm like, "I've just come
Yeah.
miles. You're like 2
Yeah.
minutes away in a car. You come to me." Like, so it definitely shows who matters and who doesn't. I forgot where I was going. What was the question? um, yes,
Your environment and your relationships.
yes. I'd say home life has got better, and I think that's because I had some relationships that I wouldn't say were bad relationships at all, but were definitely not 50-50 relationships. They definitely took more than they gave.
Right.
And that showed in my mood, my demeanor, like how I showed up. My husband would come home from work and he'd know, like,
Yeah, your energy was down.
"You're flat today, like what's gone on?" Like, so it did that me. There's been no fallouts, there's been no arguments. I wish everybody well that's ever been, like, part of my life, because if you've come into my life, you've come as a blessing or a lesson, so I
Mm.
appreciate whichever one you've brought to me. I don't hate anybody, there's nobody I'd say that I'm like, "Oh, I don't ever wanna speak to that person again," but there's definitely friendships that have drifted,
Mm.
and things like that, but I don't always see that as a bad thing. It's okay to move on from people with love. You know what I mean? They
Mm.
just have to, people are like, "Yeah, but did you fall out?" No. So you are friends then. I'm not saying we're not friends and we're never ever gonna say hello to each other again, but naturally distance does come between people. You're not all supposed to be on the same path forever, and I think the key thing there is to really notice that, because if I'm being honest, I probably noticed it a lot sooner before I accepted it and allowed it to naturally take place.
Mm.
You try and
Yeah.
hold on to things because you think, "Oh my God, like, no, these are my safe circles. These are my safe circles." But then when you really step back and look, you're thinking, "Well, how are those safe circles making you feel? Do you need to maybe separate from that circle a little bit? Like, is it okay to put some distance between you?" So there's defo been changes in relationships and environment and things. But as I said, I think they're all for the greater good. They've all been, yeah, better for me. It is hard, like you say, like when you see yourself drifting from people, like, and certainly friendships that you think you'd be friends with for life.
Yeah,
It's a little bit sad, like, not speaking to those people every day, but then also everything happens for a reason. I
mm.
also think that if you drift and there's not been an argument to make you drift, that speaks louder. Like if you fell out and you've had a big raising blow, blazing row, um, and then you drift, like, okay, there's been an argument, there's still some animosity there. But when it's just naturally
Yeah,
just,
it was meant to be, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's sort of a mourning period, I think, for
yeah,
sort of like letting go of your old identity almost. And it's sad, but I think life's all about
yeah,
evolution and change.
yeah,
And if every decade, if we stay the same, then surely that's a boring life. That's not
yeah,
a life well lived, right?
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I look back with gratitude at that version of myself, because as much now I look back and think, "Oh God, like you were never true to who you are." That version of
Mm.
me kept me safe for so long. So I look back with gratitude, but it's a case of I appreciate what you did in there and then. Like, you did keep me safe, but I'm a big girl now. I'm brave. Like, I don't need to be kept safe anymore. Like, I wanna dip my toes in the scary territory, and yeah,
Well, it does take a lot of courage to move away. Lots of people have said
yeah,
to me that since moving over here, they're like, "Oh, I could never do it. I want to stay in my little bubble in my comfort blanket." And you look them in the eye, and you can tell that they would love to, and they really, they dream of it. And I say, make it reality. I say, and then they'll come up with, all of these different reasons, excuses why they can't, and they basically tell themselves a pack of lies, and they're
growth.
trying to justify it to me. If anyone is thinking of it, anyone's on the edge, what advice would you have for someone who's making the big move?
Just do it. So I will be completely honest and say, so like I said, I got the phone call 5 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Mm.
Originally they wanted me to come on the Wednesday, and I was like, I need to like say goodbye and things. Like, I'm not coming back and forth up and down the motorway and whatever. My dad lives local. My stepdad that brought me up lives local to where we've moved to.
Yeah.
Said, "Look, I can come down, I can stay with him for a few days. But I'm not gonna keep going back and forth." So we agreed that I'd come on the Thursday. So on the Wednesday, I went round with the children saying goodbye to, like, immediate family and things like that. On the Thursday morning, we came down the motorway, signed the paperwork, picked up the keys Friday. And while all that was going on, my husband was packing the house, and he drove down the motorway on the Saturday morning with a van load of with our stuff. So for us, I definitely think just being spontaneous and doing it definitely helped, because I'd like to think it wouldn't, but I do always question, if we were given like 6 months to move in, would we have
Yeah.
talked ourselves out of it?
Yeah.
So for
So,
me,
so,
I
so
think the impulse was
Mhm.
definitely the right decision. Like, and there've been a couple of Christmases where I've been really homesick. I've got such a big
Mm.
family and they all get together at Christmas. And like when we're here, it is just the 5 of us, me, my husband and the children. But like I said, I'm so extroverted, but I'm also introverted. So I choose when I put myself out there. In
Mm.
general, I like being at home on my own, in my bubble. Nobody can just knock on the door for a cup of tea. Like, I've even gone out of my way not to make like really, really close friends locally, because then they're going to do that. Like, I'm like, no, if I don't do that, if all my friends are online far away, they can't just turn up at my door. My energy has to be prepared. If it's not prepared for you, you're not getting the real shit. Well, you are getting the real show, but you're not getting the best version of me.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Beauty for me was brilliant, because it stopped all of that. Yeah, the amount of people though that were like, because I was saying for ages, like we've asked loads of landlords like to let us know if they get any properties come up. And I think we were saying it from about the November, and obviously it got to the February, and people were like, "She's not going to go. She's not going to go." And then we got told that the people had handed in their notice, but they didn't know when they were going to leave. And then they were still like, yeah, no, she's not got a date. She's not going. So on the Tuesday evening, when I put on Facebook, we've got a house in Devon, we're going. Everyone was like, oh my God, when you're going? I was like, Thursday morning. They were like, what? But it was just so, and I feel like that's typical Chelle behaviour. Like, just fucking do it. Absolutely just do it. Like, if your heart is singing for it and if it feels right in here, don't give a shit what other people say. Don't give a, like, if you think people are going to stare at you and judge you. And we definitely had people tell us we were crazy and we were stupid and we shouldn't do it, and we did anyway because it
Yeah.
felt good for us.
When we first moved here and I started talking to people at work and stuff, they were like, "Oh, so have you got family here then?" I was like, "No." Do you know anyone on the island? Like, "No." And they were like, "What?" They couldn't believe it. But I remember when it was all going through and we were having problems, we were having so many different roadblocks. And I kept saying to my wife, I kept saying, "Look, this is the universe testing us, seeing if we really want to go."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I don't know about this and that." And our deadline was the kids starting school in September. And that was what really, really pushed us on. And we were like, no, we need to get over there in the summer holidays. We're
Yeah.
going in August and that is it. And we made it happen. But like you said, I think if you sit on the fence for too long,
Took yourself out.
your brain wants to keep you safe.
Yep.
So
That's what our brain knows how to do, isn't it? That's what it's programmed to do, to keep you safe. So if you
yeah,
allow the brain to do too much, it's just going to head for safety.
yeah, 100%, definitely. So what has been the hardest part, would you say, of staying true to yourself as you've grown?
I think it is that underlying fear of the judgment. Like, when a biological parent rejects you, I think that's the deepest level of rejection. But I've also learned that actually that fear is there because, like we've just said, the brain is just trying to keep you safe. That's a natural, normal feeling to feel. And I think people are like, oh my God, I fear being judged. There's something wrong with me. That's completely normal. That is okay. The thing to work through is, okay, where's this feeling? Let's deal with it. Let's just sit with it for a little while. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I'm okay. Work
Yeah.
through it. Like, allow it to sit there. It's that whole cliche, feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, the
Yeah.
only way you're going to do anything in life is to work through the uncomfortable. Everything's going to bring up some kind of niggle. And if you allow those niggles to win, they manifest and become into something bigger, and you end up agoraphobic. So
Yeah.
you've
Yeah,
got to work through those niggles.
it's working through that resistance, like you just
Yeah,
said.
absolutely.
Working through the discomfort. So after obviously all the work that you've done, Chelle, how do you deal with setbacks these days when those old stories and and that little voice starts creeping back in?
It's those reminders. So when I have wins now, like, so for instance, yesterday I went on a public speaker workshop because I want to step into public speaking. And all day I was like, oh my God, like I'm absolutely crapping it, because I knew it was going to be impromptu rounds.
Okay.
When I came off it, I felt so good. It's about really
Yeah.
documenting those times you do something against your better judgment, against the fear, and it comes out with a positive response. It's documenting that so you can remind yourself, actually, you were scared of doing that. Look where where you are now. You were scared of saying that. Look what it turned into. You were scared of manifesting that. Look what it's. it's just documenting all those things. Yeah. Like when you've got a clear, oh, should I, shouldn't I? And then you see, actually, you come out of it and you're like, I really enjoyed that. So like the workshops with TCM, I feared the hell out of those. I think I cried on the majority of them, but I pushed myself and I made myself go, because every time I came out, I felt amazing. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know why it feels so hard to go into them, but once I'm in
Yeah.
them, I love it. And I'm out of them and I'm like, yes. And I get the best breakthrough and the best tidbits. So for me, it's being aware in those moments. Yeah, it's not forgetting the little things. It's noting down all those wins, because when you need to call on those things and they're there, you can remind yourself, actually, no, look at all these things that did go right. Like there might be things that go wrong in life, but all these go right. So don't be scared. Don't let this be a setback. Don't let it put you back into agoraphobia. Like I think I have a unique story in the sense it went so drastic for me. So for me, I'm always like, you don't want to end up back in that place. Like, do not allow this fear to fester. Do not allow it. So I think I've always got that inner voice in me, like, you're going to end up back in the armchair.
Yeah.
So for me, I call it my little armchair friend. And it is just a version of me. And she's old and she's sad and she's lonely. And she's just rocking in an armchair because she's let everything fester and beat her. And for me, I'm like, I'm not going to be that version of myself. She might be there taunting me in my head, but I'm not going to be her. She can stay right where she is. She's not coming to fruition.
It's turning the pain into purpose. That's what they say.
Yeah. And I felt like that's where I'm most passionate as well. Like when I can talk about things, I'm like, absolutely fucking not. Like, and I do apologize about the swearing that comes out as a sign of passion as well. I get like, a bit of grace.
Yeah. I get it. I get it at home all the time when I'm talking about stuff like this and I'm swearing. My wife's like, Luke, your language, you've got to. I said, look, I'm passionate. I said, it's a way of me expressing myself. She said, yeah, but you haven't got to swear, Luke. And I said, well, I bloody have. Martin. It's tough. It's tough, Chelle. It is tough.
It's the ADHD as well. It just comes out. There's no turning the brain off. It's coming out. It's like verbal diarrhea.
I know, potty mouth. God, tell me about it. I'm always getting told off all the time. The kids are teenagers now. They've heard it all before. It's fine.
Yeah. As I say, no, that doesn't work anyway. I was going to say, do as I say and not as I do, but that doesn't work because swearing is saying. That's how it goes out the window.
So, Chelle, how do you help women stop shrinking and start living as themselves?
I am a walking permission slip. I think, like, absolutely there's tools and techniques and things like that. But for me, actually just doing it and saying to other women, look, I can do it, so you can do it too. Why not? Like, I just like to be your best friend. I like to be there, right there by you, encouraging you, like, come on, do it. Like, I'm your hype girl. Like, I'm the person that says, why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Like, what? Because Suzanne down the road says you can't, or John across the road. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's encouraging people to step into that fear. Yeah, and I think I wrote a sentence down, but I've lost it. It was a really good one.
It's being that positive role model.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's remembering that the identity comes before the confidence. And
that's so hard, though. So hard. Yeah.
It is. But it's remembering that a confident person. I don't even remember what the sentence was I was going to say. Do you know when you like solely rely on something you've wrote down? I shouldn't have done that because now my brain's fixating. I'm trying to remember the sentence rather than remembering the question. Ask me the question again.
How do you help women stop shrinking and start living as themselves?
Yeah, so it is teaching them the basics of actually nobody else's opinion matters. Do not trade your authenticity for somebody else's acceptance because it's never going to happen. And that, they know yourself, own yourself, and be yourself. Like that's the biggest superpower you can give yourself. Like you can absolutely go out there as a version of yourself that you think is safe, but it's that version of yourself that is being liked. It's that version of yourself that's being accepted. And wouldn't it be truly freeing to be accepted as exactly who you are? And there are people out there that will, but it's also being that person that is the no bullshit and just say, look, you're absolutely going to get people that aren't nice to you. But that's going to happen regardless of whether you step into your power or not. And for me, I think that's the kind of women I want to work with. It's those women that I know they're made for more. Like they know they've got it in them to go and get it, but they're just so fearful by societal expectations and judgment.
Mhm.
And I'm there to say, fuck that. Absolutely fuck that. Like, go and get it. Like, this is what you want. Their opinions will not pay your bills. Like,
Yeah.
just go and be exactly who you are. I always challenge everybody. Like, I did TCM TV Live the weekend, and my challenge to everybody this week was just to have one day where they tried to be 100% in alignment of inside and see how much fun they have. See how
Yeah.
less effort it is to actually just be who you are. There's no masks, no bravado, no performing. And people always say to me, "But you're performing all the time." But this isn't a performance. This is me. Like, high energy Shell is this show. Like, this isn't a fake version that's put on a stage. Like, and again, I think that's a misconception. Like, if you're the big, loud, in your face one, people think that's not real. And for
Yeah.
me, it's saying, if you're the big loud one, be the big loud one. If you're the one that sits back, be the one that sits back. Like, be exactly who you are and do not give a shit. So yeah, I'm a walking permission slip. Like, I'm not somebody that's just going to sit down and tell you to do it. I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to be saying to you, shitting myself doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's what's right for in here. So yeah, I will always walk the walk before I talk the talk.
It, it's one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I get
Yeah,
from clients. A lot of men that I speak to, one of the biggest drawbacks for them is my mates will think I'm boring if I'm not drinking. They'll think I'm not fun if I don't drink. And it's like, yeah, but mate, so many people worry what other people think. And yeah, it just goes back again to the archetypes and the masks. It's so important. My coaching program, one of the first things in the first week, we go through people's values. And so many people I speak to, they don't even know what
values
their
are.
values are. But obviously, we've done the work through NLP
Yeah,
and coaching. But you speak to people and they're like, well, what's the value? And it's like, wow, okay. Right. And then we'll list their 6 top core values. And then I'll say, are you living aligned with these every day, every week? And then, and we'll go through them. And so many times they're not. And it's like,
yeah,
that is why you're not happy. That is, if you live by these every day, every week, not just at home, at your job, your career, all these different things, then you will be happy.
yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely.
I remember hearing Liam say that in the NLP
Yeah.
coaching masters, and it blew my mind. I was like, wow, that is so true. If you find out what your values are, if you find out what's important to you, and you live aligned with them, then you will be happy. But it's
Like
doing
I
that
say,
in
that
the
in
work.
itself is something you can really give somebody, helping them figure out what their values are. Because again, I think that's
Mm.
one of those things, if people are aware of what a value is, sometimes they then also give answers that they think they're supposed to have. Like, a lot of people think that
Yeah,
their top values should be their
yeah,
family, their spouse, their
yeah,
job, like, and it doesn't make you a shitty person if those aren't your top 3. Like, it doesn't mean you don't value them and you don't love them, but, like, especially as a mum for me as well, like, we're always taught, "Oh, your children should come first." Like, well, actually, if my oxygen is at 10% and my child needs me, the fuck am I supposed to do that? Like, you've got to put yourself first in those circumstances. It's that whole the airplane thing, isn't it? They always tell you to put your own oxygen mask on
mm,
before anybody else's, but
yeah, yeah. It's so true. You can't pour from an empty cup. You need to sort yourself out first.
fill it up,
And
baby.
yeah, I know. I say it to my wife as well. Like, we'll have problems in the family. We'll have, bickering, arguing, or whatever. And I'll always say to my wife, I said, look, the most important relationship is our relationship between us. I said, like, the kids will feed off everything that we do. I said, if me and you aren't right, then it's going to affect everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
The relationship
I
with
know,
yourself as well. I think that's another relationship people don't even think is a thing. When you say,
yeah,
What relationships do you have?" About
yeah,
2% of people say, "I have a relationship with myself." They don't
yeah.
understand that how you talk to yourself and how you communicate with yourself
Mm.
has a profound effect, yeah.
Do you like Mel Robbins?
I saw little bits.
Really? Her book, The Let Them Theory, I was chatting to my wife about it the other day. It's an amazing
I've got
book.
the book, but I'll be honest, it's never come off the shelf. It's not one that everyone "Read it, read it." But I'm just like, yeah, I might do. I've not yet. I'm a
So
little bit on the fence with that one because I am kinda like, let them not like you and things like that, but not let them treat you like shit. not let them
Mm.
make you feel small, not let them make you mask, not let them make you change who you are. So maybe I need to read it. Maybe it's I'm getting the wrong idea of the let
Mm.
them.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, no, why should I fucking let them?
A lot
This is
of
my story.
the reason I mentioned her name is a lot of her work is about the relationship with yourself, like high-fiving yourself in
Okay.
the mirror, and the way you speak to yourself is so important. And she really
Yeah.
dive quite deep into that. But yeah, it's a brilliant book, Shell. I highly recommend it. But well, you've already got it, so get on and read it.
Maybe I will read it.
So, for anyone who's feeling lost and stuck, what is the first thing that you would tell them, Shell?
Um,
It's a big one.
oh, it is a big one. What would be the first thing I told them? I think the key to unlocking all of this is the level of self-awareness. Like, you've really got to sit with yourself and think, right, who is in my life that probably makes me not be who I authentically am? What places do I go to that make me not the right version of myself? Like, what habits have I got? So, really look at what's going on in your life right now and think, does that align with the truest version of me? Does
Mm.
that person align with the truest version of me? Like, just real take a deep look. And then it's having the confidence then if you notice things and think, oh, well, actually, when I'm around that person, I don't act like myself. I do act a bit different. And or when I go to that place, I end up drinking alcohol and I don't actually want to drink. Like, it's
Mm.
looking at those things and noticing and then, yeah, it's having the confidence then to step in and be like, right, well, okay, I'm the priority. I'm going to set these boundaries now. And
Mm.
it doesn't mean, again, like I've said, like with friendships, it doesn't mean you have to be like, "Oh, I don't want to be a friend anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just being consciously aware and not putting yourself around them too much. Or again, when you're around them, if they're not aligned with you because they're quite negative, just be like, I'm really not feeling the low mood today. Can we bring the energy up? And like, you don't have to be. Had this conversation again the other day, like a lady was like, oh, I want to tell like my daughter-in-law that she's quite negative, but I don't want to be rude. I'm like, you don't have to be rude. Like, you can just say, look, I'm really not feeling that I'm in the right energy for this today. Can we talk about something different? Like, I think people think that when you set boundaries for yourself, it has to be in a rude way or like you have to be really
Mm.
firm and really nasty. And it's not. Like, you can literally just say to somebody, no, thanks. And
Yeah.
no also is a full sentence. There doesn't have to be an explanation after it. You can literally just say, no,
Yeah.
no,
You need
thanks.
to protect your energy. So
Absolutely.
important.
That's the biggest thing I learned. Protect your energy and find ways to raise your energy.
Mm. Are there any daily practices that you'd recommend? I've got a morning routine that I absolutely live by now. Have you got any rituals, any things that like any non-negotiables, Shell?
So for me, it is putting on music and it is letting myself just absolutely thrash it out. Whether it's the most stupidest dance ever or whatever, like you will feel so free just put on some music, put it on your favourite song and just let your body move however it wants. It's a part of somatic movement as well. So it will heal parts of you that you did not know he needed healing. But just to allow your body to move in a way your body feels like it wants to move. Like, don't think, oh, I've got to do the dance moves to this. Like, do it in your house on your own. Nobody else has to see it. You don't have to record it. But please, all just try for me, putting on your favourite crazy song and just let your body do what it needs to do. And even that will just make you. So it's that for me. It is journaling, but I'll share something here. So anyone else that's neurodivergent, I find it really hard I can talk the hind legs off a donkey, as we're discovering. I tried to write some notes that I wanted to talk about and to articulate myself into written words. I
Mm.
can't do it. My brain just goes, phew, phew.
Yeah.
So trying to journal for me, I'm sat there and I'm thinking, I don't even know what to write. I'm thinking, should I write this? Shouldn't I? It's that whole voice in your head, like you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So I've got ChatGPT and I've got a thread that's called brain dumps. And I press the transcribe button and I literally, of a morning or whenever it is, I'll brain dump everything. I'll journal in the morning. I'll reflect on the evening and it all goes in one long thread on ChatGPT. And then like once a month, I'll be like, can we have a recap of this month? Like what reoccurring patterns have come up?
Mm.
What like things have I worked on and overcome? Like it's an easier way as then for me to look back as well and reflect because it's all saved there. But yeah, transcribing has been an absolute godsend to me. And it doesn't have to be on ChatGPT. You can transcribe wherever you want to transcribe. But yeah, if you're somebody that wants to get deeper into self-awareness, but you're like, oh, I don't know how to write those things, literally just start talking and it comes out, I promise you, it will just come out. The amount of times I've been going, I've been like, oh my Jesus Christ, where's this come from? If you just allow yourself to just talk freely, it just comes out. Yeah. So
So that's
transcribing.
like into your phone on voice notes, is it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it doesn't actually save it as a voice note. It will
Right.
dictate it into like written text. But I
Yeah.
find that for me then I can just talk how I talk and it transcribes it all. And like it told me the other day, it said, go and drink some water. Even badass bitches need hydrating. Because I just use my language like I swear and everything at it. So it's brilliant. It's like my little best friend, but yeah, it's the biggest. I think that's been the best thing for me, like clarity wise and getting that level of self-awareness. The crazy dancing. And yeah, even badass bitches need hydrating. Go drink your water.
If you could go back then, Chelle, and give your younger version any advice, what would it be?
Oh my God, I would hug her so tight, so, so tight. And I would tell her that firstly, the trauma that she already had been through or she was going to go through was not her fault. I think that's something I held on for so long. Like I kept blaming myself for everything that happened. So just to remember, like the trauma is not your fault. And actually, like if you just be exactly who Chelle is, the world is going to love you. Like at the minute, you're fighting for the wrong people. I tried so hard through school to build relationships and friendships and things, and they were never the right people. Like, and I tried so hard. I put in so much effort for people that weren't my people. I tried to change myself. So yeah, I'd just say to her, like, just be your fucking self. Like, life is not your fault. I'm sorry that this has happened to you. Like, you are loved, you are safe, but please do not let this world dim you. Shine bright.
Don't keep on trying to seek external validation, as so many of them do.
Absolutely not. No. Because I realise it's not the external validation that matters anyway.
No.
Because for a very long time, I was overpraised as a child because my siblings weren't academically as clever as me. And so I was the first child to go through A levels, to go to university, to do all that stuff. I was overly praised, but still now it's the inner critic that you've got to overcome. Like everyone can praise you as much as you want, but if you're allowing the inner critic to beat it, you can have 100 people applauding you really loud. If you're letting this voice in here be louder, the external doesn't matter anyway. So allow that to be for judgment and praise. Like the outside noise doesn't matter. What's in here does.
Yeah, it goes back to self-awareness, as it always does, doesn't it? When that voice comes in, you've just got to say, that's not me. That's not my voice. I know what you're doing. You're trying to keep me
Yeah,
safe. You're
that's
trying to
it.
keep, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Thank you and move on.
Yeah. So what does the next chapter look like for you then, Chelle? You've mentioned a few different things during the podcast. Where can people connect with you as well? I'll put all your bits and pieces on social media in the show notes anyway.
Yeah, so social media it's Chelle Stanley. That's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They're all the same. I like to be easy. Next chapters. So it comes into my own level of identity, I think. So it's actually stepping into being a coach and helping on that deeper level. Yeah, because like I say, I used the coaching to overcome the agoraphobia in that, and I stepped back. But now I'm stepping into it in the idea of I really want to learn these tools so I can actually really help other people. So next chapter is, yeah, really owning on those. So I've got the story, I've got the experience, I can be the mentor. I really want the deep tools to really help. I also want to train to be an empowerment facilitator in the idea of fire walks, glass walks, all that stuff. I just feel like that's my energy. Like
Wow.
raising a room and getting people worked to the point where they can do that. Like I think that's the biggest shift. Like that arrow break for me was the biggest catalyst. Standing on a stage and actually saying, like, no, this is my voice and it's okay to be heard. And then physically breaking through that, I was like, fuck yes. I came off that stage and like, I was just I wasn't a different version of myself. Like, it's almost like you don't become a more confident version of yourself. You have to unlearn the conditioning. Everyone thinks it's a step
Yeah.
forward. It's not. You got to unlearn. You got to go backwards. You haven't got to go
Like
forwards.
letting go. Yeah.
Strip back the layers. That's where the
Mm.
confident version of you is, the truest, most honest, authentic version of you.
It's like peeling an onion, they say, peeling back the layers.
The only problem is when you peel one, they all start coming off, don't they?
But you don't want to peel too many. Okay, thank you so much for today, Chelle, for sharing your story, for being so honest, and yeah, your energy today is it's been amazing. There'll be loads of people listening, I know as well, that are going to get real value from what you said, from navigating your own journey with your identity and your confidence. So thank you so much for giving up your time today, Chelle, because I know it's so important time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed
No
it.
worries, Chelle. Good to talk.